Welcome to the show, everybody. My name is Mark Farzetta. This is the Farzy Show presented by MyBookie. MyBookie.ag. It's wonderful to have you along for the ride. Absolutely. So I feel like a lot of times we have conversations about Pro Football Focus and whether or not Pro Football Focus has credibility. And, they do their homework. They're watching film. They think they know their assignments and all that stuff. And based on that, they'll grade players. This is where Pro Football Focus loses all credibility. I don't get it. Highest graded positions for week 11. Derrick Henry somehow magically outranks Saquon Barkley for the best performance by a running back. The highest graded running back for this past week was not Saquon Barkley. Now, let's just real quick, let's look at Derrick Henry's numbers. Let's look at it. Okay, 24 carries, 140 yards, 5.8 yards per carry. Holy Stromboli. Longest run, 27 yards. That's great against the Chargers there. Both games in LA, both games on the same field. Now, okay, that's 140 yards to Saquon Barkley's. Oh, those are his receiving numbers, but who was even counting those? 255 yards, 26 yards, 9.8 yards per carry, 2 touchdowns. Longest run was 72 yards, which topped his 70-yard run at the first play, as the first play of the second half. And then somehow, oh yeah, by the way, 302 yards in total. But somehow this is better than this. And this guy gets graded higher than Saquon Barkley, who had a top 9 performance all time ever in the NFL with 302 yards. 9th most yards from scrimmage ever. And Pro Football Focus is like, nah, hold on. Pro Football Focus is actually like, let me make sure you set this off here. Pro Football Focus is like, oh, the ninth most yards ever? Hold on a minute. Oh, damn, Derrick Henry's better. Yeah. I actually read the comments to a lot of these, and most people are sane and being like, hold on, make this make sense when it comes to Saquon Barkley's numbers versus the Derrick Henry's. And here's the other thing. They're going to be going head-to-head this weekend. I am very much looking forward to that. That's going to be an incredible performance. An incredible game, seeing how both sides are trying to contain 2 of the best running backs in the game right now. There's no doubt. And here's the thing. It's not like I hate Derrick Henry or anything, or I'm trying to put him down, as much as I'm trying to raise Saquon Barkley up, because Saquon Barkley has raised himself up that high. This is where you lose all credibility. And look, I've taken up for Pro Football Focus in years past when it comes to, I remember one particular instance with Nick Foles. Nick Foles had 4 touchdown passes in a game, and Pro Football Focus was like, this guy had the 11th best performance, like 10 players better than the performance he had in that game. And I remember that game, I'm like, I could kind of see it simply because he got the ball in short field every time. Didn't have a long sustained drive, but still 4 touchdown passes is pretty damn good. I think it was against the Giants, if I'm not mistaken. But there's other things, too. On a positive note, they also ranked Jordan Mailata as the highest-rated tackle for this past week. But the Derrick Henry thing, make sense. And here's what caught my eye. When I was flipping through social media, Derrick Henry, this picture without the grade was actually the cover picture for the social media post. And I went, hold on a second. Is this week or last week? What week is this? What are we doing here? And then I started scrolling through and realized, no, in fact, Derrick Henry is their highest graded running back for week 11 in the NFL. Make sense, because it can't make sense. Nick Sirianni addressed the media yesterday. He was talking a lot about Brandon Graham. There must have been 3 or 4 different questions in a 20-minute span about Brandon Graham, and all of them were more glowing than the next. He also talked about not getting on a plane. I'm always curious about this. Do we make too much of this as media, not getting on a plane? The easier travel schedule. And I thought about it when it comes to the Eagles. You've played so many games on the road already. You started your season with a home game in Brazil, for crying out loud. You deserve to not get on a plane in the month of December and early January, by the way. You deserve that. To have at least, 37 days of not having to worry about getting on a plane, not having to go pack a big bag. Like, this is going to be a nice little easy trip for the Eagles for the rest of the season. But is it something that we make too much of? I think this is of all years. This is a year you can look at with the Eagles and go, oh no, this kind of matters. So Nick Sirianni was asked about that yesterday. He gave a really good answer on it too, the fact that it does matter. He also talked about the development of Nakobe Dean. It's actually the first question of the press conference yesterday. And then the going through adversity last year. Now, I've made a big deal of this because I feel like it's a last year's adversity, and by adversity I mean by last year's adversity I mean all of a sudden being terrible at football at the end of the year. That's the adversity. I don't look at that as a dark cloud over this season. I don't look at not anymore. At the beginning of the year, absolutely. But now at 9-2, I don't look and wait for the shoe to drop and go, oh boy, now they're going to do the thing that they did last year. No, again, last year was an anomaly. That was an epidemic. That's what the hell? That doesn't happen. So then this year I look at it and say that's the mistake they learned from. They're not going to make that same mistake twice. I don't know of anyone that is honestly thinking that this is just going to fall apart again the way it did last year. I don't look at last year as a dark cloud. I look at last year as a reason to be even more optimistic, because you're honestly going to let that happen again. You're going to let that happen again 2 years in a row. I don't think so. There's a reason that hadn't happened since 1987 with the Jets of all teams. And you got to go back to 1987. So I don't look at it as a dark cloud. I look at it as a reason to be more optimistic. And Nick Sirianni takes it the same way. You would expect him to take it the same way. And I think it all started with right in the locker room, even immediately after this win over the Rams, where Nick Sirianni's in the locker room and he's looking at his team and he's going, you haven't done what yet. You haven't done anything yet. And the number one reason for that mess isn't just the fact that his team's 9-2, playing great football, and absolutely going to get all the questions or get all the praise in the world from media, from friends and family about how great they are and all that stuff. They're going to get too cocky. No, it's not just being 9-2, winning 7 in a row. It's that last year you had a historic collapse. So let's look at that and learn from those mistakes and make sure that we finish off this season in the final month plus of the year where, yes, we don't have to get on a plane and we can be well rested. Let's look at it as, let's learn from last year and close out this year strong, even stronger than last year. So I love the messaging. Big day when it came to talking for the Philadelphia sports scene, because Sirianni spoke, and then Nick Nurse spoke, and then Paul George spoke. Addressed the media. And Nick Nurse described practice yesterday. Joel Embiid, by the way, did not practice. By the way, Joel Embiid and Paul George are ruled out for tonight's matchup against the Rockets. But here's what's good. Nick Nurse described yesterday's practice as...
I found this on the web.
What the hell is going on? Shut up, phone. Tense and very physical. Edgy and very physical. That's how Nick Nurse described the Sixers practice yesterday. I'm no body language expert by any means, but watching Nick Nurse talk about his team, I got a sense that he actually has real confidence, and which you could judge on your own. And then I also got a sense of I'm doing everything I can here. I signed up to have Joel Embiid. I signed up to have a front office that would have the wherewithal to go sign a guy like Paul George, Tyrese Maxey ever developing, and now I get this gift of Jared McCain. This isn't what I signed up for. I don't know what you want me to do anymore. He was asked the other day about the Sixers only still winning one game since they had their meeting right in Miami. And he was like, yeah, well, obviously you'd like wins, but sometimes the intensity needs to be ramped up. When you get blown out by 15 points in the first quarter against the LA Clippers, yeah, that's kind of tough. That's a rough one. That's a tough pill to swallow there. So you want to make sure you go out there and actually put your best foot forward, actually hustle, actually play physical, actually play with an edge, and actually look like a team that wants to win and look like a team that's focused. But it's kind of hard to do that when your best player most consistently this season, as Paul George even said last week, has been a rookie named Jared McCain. And Tyrese Maxey's been hurt, and Joel Embiid's been hurt, and Paul George has been hurt. And now you're shuffling, and you've been shuffling lineups all season long. So to find consistency for this 76ers team is been very difficult. But listening to Nick Nurse yesterday, I got the sense of like, I don't know what else I could do here. Hands are up in the air. They're like, I just need guys to get healthy. And I continue, as we all do, to hear about left knee injury management for Joel Embiid. The question I want to hear answered from Nick Nurse, even Joel Embiid, and Daryl Morey, really, of all people, is the growing concern in the fan base that Joel Embiid is just done. And it's not even just the fan base, but it's everyone. Is he just cooked? Because you're talking about left knee. You're not talking about an injury anymore. You're talking about managing an injury. So if we're doing that now with 4+ years remaining on his contract, what are we going to do next year? What are we going to do the year after that, the year after that, and the year after that? If we're just managing it now, because wouldn't the best way to manage it just be shut him down? Wouldn't that be the best way to do this? And then everyone can start talking more about Cooper Flagg and all that stuff. What are we doing here? Left knee management. Shut him down. Even if it's we're going to shut Joel Embiid down for the month of December. And then we're gonna ramp up. Oh, we're gonna do some ramping, and then we hopefully he comes back, and then we're gonna go on a run here. Now, speaking of confidence, I mentioned confidence with Nick Nurse. Paul George, when he addressed the media, talked about this recurring knee injury that he's had, and he said, yeah, both were kind of freak accidents, but it's not a concern for the rest of the year. Hopefully, he'll be ready to go within a week, so that'd be nice. One thing he said that was kind of like, ugh, was his knee had nowhere to go but backwards. I don't know if you guys have ever had an injury like that. That's not fun. That's not fun. The brace isn't great that he's got on right now. And he was asked about control. And he said, yeah, the only thing we can control right now is the energy and the effort. And he said he's 100% sure, bet down, 100% that the Sixers are going to turn this around. Call me crazy, but I still think they're making the playoffs. Call me crazy, but I still think they're making the playoffs. Good that Paul George has that confidence, too. Kind of needs somebody in that locker room to have the confidence that they're going to make the postseason. So we'll get into that and all that fun stuff. Also, about 6 or 7 minutes playing together with Joel Embiid and Tyrese Maxey. And Jared McCain, throw him in the mix now, too, considering he's a starter as well. So, yeah, we got a lot of meat on the bone when it comes to today's program. Also, I mentioned this yesterday. I'll mention it again. I'm going to be on the radio tonight. What? That foreign media to me. I'm going to be on the radio tonight with the great Bernie Perrott talking pucks on WBCB, also known as Merrill Reese's station. I'll be at Chickies and Pete's in Northeast Philadelphia from 6 to 7 tonight, doing this little Flyers broadcast, having myself a good time. And catching up with my good friend Bernie Perrott. So I look forward to that. So catch that 6 to 7 tonight. And then at right after that, I'll be locked into the Sixers game for Locked On Sports Philadelphia. And I'll be having myself a good time watching the Sixers, hopefully. So that'll be a good time. By the way, WBCB 1490 on the AM dial. So don't miss that one. All right, let's get into what was going on yesterday with our boy, Nick Sirianni, addressing the media. First and foremost, let's just get into this with Brandon Graham. And I saw the clip on social media of him in with my man Joe DeCamera and John Ritchie and everybody getting emotional. And I think it's not that it didn't hit him initially, but it's certainly sinking in that his season and career could be over. And what a game. What a season he was having. What a game he was having. And he was just there to make a play throughout that entire game, or throughout his entire playing time on the against the Rams. He was just there to make a play. And he was making plays. And this season he's been making plays. He's had huge stops this season. And at 36 years old, he's playing at an extremely high level. And he addressed the media at the locker room. He addressed the media outside Chickies and Pete's. He talked to WIP at Chickies and Pete's after that. Then he went on WIP yesterday morning. And then I think that's when it finally had sunk in that his season is over and that his career could be over. I've been extremely impressed with what I've seen so far from Brandon Graham what I've seen from Brandon Graham this season at 36. That again was supposed to be just a hat tip farewell tour for Brandon Graham. And if you get a sack or two this season from him, oh, that's great. What a farewell tour. I didn't expect an uptick in snap count for Brandon Graham. And I certainly didn't expect 3.5 sacks. I didn't expect tackles for loss. I didn't expect playing at the run stuffs as well. I did not expect him going off at the rate that he's been going off on this season. And I absolutely love the whole attitude of Vic Fangio. Like, dude, you're not on a farewell tour. Like, you're going to play. If you're here, you're going to play. And he's been getting the best out of him all season. And then for it to end this way is terrible. And then Nick Sirianni addressed the media yesterday and had some, as you would expect, great things to say about BG.
Yeah, can't say enough good things about BG. I think you guys have asked me this a couple times, and just everybody in every workplace needs a Brandon Graham. Man, his energy is contagious. You can't get around him and not. If you're having a bad day and you get around him, he can turn your day positive. Obviously, the player speaks for itself in the play on the field. He's having a great year, but just can't say enough about him as a leader, as a captain, as a teammate. And I've said this a bunch. Like when I first got the head coaching job, to have Fletch and Jason and Lane and BG, to have 4 guys that were 10+ year Eagles at the offense and defensive line, really made the transition from a coordinator to a head coach, made that a lot easier.
Later on in the press conference, he was asked about how much Brandon Graham's going to be around the team. He was asked specifically that question by Zach Berman of PHLY, and he was asked about injured players traveling with the team, and he said, not there yet, but basically if players can move out of the way safely, in other words, if there's some sort of lower body injury and players aren't mobile and they can't get out of the way, then they won't be there. If it's an upper body injury, so for like triceps, for instance, they can get out of the way, then they're going to be there on the sideline. So long story short, I expect Brandon Graham to be on the sideline at some point this season. And again, they're not getting on a plane, so all he's got to do is just get on a bus and go with the team. So these aren't long trips he's got to go on here. So I fully expect Brandon Graham to be on the sidelines there and talking. And one of my favorite things I've heard from Brandon Graham over the last 3-4 days is, he's still going to be talking that trash about how he's going to be telling the opposing teams, "Hey, you're lucky I'm not playing. You're lucky I'm not out there." That whole thing. And then still being encouraging, because I have no doubt in my mind that guys like Nolan Smith still want to hear from him. I have no doubt in my mind that even Nakobe Dean or Zach Ball, anybody on this defensive line, anybody on this team still wants to hear from BG. And I know last year's demise, everyone threw, and rightfully so, because when you're losing like that, everything gets thrown under the bus. Everything, including the kitchen sink, gets thrown under the bus. But still, I don't think last year means that leadership means nothing. And you can go back to last year with BG in that locker room, Lane in that locker room, and Jason Kelsey and Fletcher Cox in that locker room, and the wheels still came off the wagon. But that doesn't mean that leadership is just all of a sudden not important. And having a guy like BG, especially when you talk about some young guys on this defensive line, I think that's going to be very important for this squad. Overall, obviously, talent is what matters more than anything. But still, leadership, keeping guys focused, having that right word at the right time, that right thing to say, or that good juju, that comes from BG. And I think this is where it goes beyond sports. And you can talk about what Nick Sirianni brought up yesterday, which is every workplace needs a Brandon Graham. Whether you're in a locker room or you're in a workplace, you need a Brandon Graham. You need somebody that when stuff's hitting the fan, they got everybody settled down. They got everybody relaxed. Nobody, playing tight. Nobody playing tense. Sure, urgency, absolutely. But not, as they say in hockey, gripping the stick too tight or anything like that. So I love the fact he's still going to be around this team. As far as the let's get to the last year thing. Nick Sirianni addressing the team after the win against the Rams, talked about how you haven't done anything yet and all that. Yesterday, he got into how you benefit from adversity, and I think it was Olivia Reiner of Inquirer.com that asked the question regarding benefiting from last year's mistakes.
Go through adversity, that is a great opportunity for growth, and I think that's what we've seen, right? Growth through adversity. That's part of our nature, right? Of lifting in the weight room. You can't get stronger unless you go through adversity lifting. It's the same thing here. And having that mindset of like, hey, we're going to get better from this. And I think that's just been our mindset and what we learned from last year, what we've learned from some of the difficult things that we've went through this year. And so, yeah, I think that you're better as you go through adversity. And there's no question if you allow it to. And I believe that this team, this coaching staff, these players have allowed this, our adversity that we've had through our time here together, shape us and get us to where we are right now.
That's all you can do when you have such a horrible end of the season last year. And I love the idea. Now, put it like this. A lot of times when questions get asked and people don't like the answer, the quick thing is always, what's he going to say? Nick Sirianni actually didn't go coach speak on this answer. Coach speak to this question is last year's got nothing to do with this year. It's that we're not even thinking about that. We're focused on right now being 9-2 and then now be 10-2. He doesn't go that way. He doesn't ignore what happened last year. And I'm thrilled he doesn't ignore what happened last year because I want him to learn from the mistakes of last year. And yes, there are mistakes that he made. There are mistakes that the franchise made. There are mistakes that players made, leadership made, everything. Everything sucked at the end of last year. They at 10-3, good God, they essentially fired their defensive coordinator at 10-3 and said, all right, Matt Patricia, now you're going to do this. Okay, I'll do this now. And they still suck. It was a move at the time that I said, it's so crazy, it has to work. And it didn't. So now you look really dumb. You revamp your coaching staff when it comes to your coordinators almost completely. And Vic Fangio has been incredible. Kellen Moore has been really good. Certainly willing to change things that he's done in the past. We're talking about a guy that really didn't use RPO, and here he's used RPO. He has embraced the talent. He has done what you want a guy with a similar a guy that has a certain philosophy. You want him to come into a new environment, look around at what he has, and go, I could change some things here because I have Jalen Hurts, because I have Saquon Barkley, because I have AJ Brown, because I have this offensive line. I can do things a little bit different than I'm used to doing in my career, and also call it what it is. Nick Sirianni's philosophies of 2022. Or whatever if you want to just hate on Nick, whatever he stole from Shane Steichen, whatever was working then, it's certainly working now with this offensive coordinator. But again, we got to start the smear campaign so we don't lose Kellen Moore at the end of the season. And we have to say this is all Nick Sirianni. Kellen Moore doesn't do anything. Of course, that's not true, but everything has really changed from last year. And I don't want the head coach to ignore the mistakes that the team made last year. Especially now at 9-2, when some people might have it in the back of their minds and now have trust issues because the Eagles were terrible at the end of last year. Now is the time to embrace the mistakes so that you learn from them. And that's Nick Sirianni's answer to this. And I know a lot of people look at it and still say, what is it that he does? What does Nick Sirianni do? Well, it seems as if right now Nick Sirianni is back to what made him a phenomenal head coach 2 years ago. And that is he gets his team ready to play football. Whether it's him pushing the buttons, calling plays, him pushing the buttons with game plan, whatever the case, but he stays out of the way of Vic Fangio. You can certainly make the argument Nick Sirianni of any winning record in the NFL might do less than any other head coach. Hell, he's going to go up against a guy that everyone, the CEO head coach like John Harbaugh. Oh, okay. So if Nick Sirianni really wants to be the CEO which I have downgraded him to at times guidance counselor, head coach. Both guys get their teams ready to play football. And that is not something that can just be pushed aside. Nick Sirianni does a great job of preparing his team to play. And if they're not prepared to play in the first quarter, by not scoring any damn points, like has been a struggle this year. If they're not ready to play, they're going to be ready to make the adjustment in game. He gets his team ready to win. That's what he does. How? I don't know. Apparently, it's very motivating, and this team loves him. And I told you guys this after the yelling at the crowd when they beat the Browns to start this 7-game winning streak. I said, this could be the flower power moment. This could be the flower power moment of 2021, where the Eagles turned it around after Nick Sirianni was talking about tulips and daisies and beautiful flowers and planting seeds, and everyone railed on Nick Sirianni, including myself in the locker room. And, oh, hold on. We suck now because our coach is talking about flowers? No, we're going to show you. And then they all of a sudden rallied around him. The head coach starts yelling at the fan. And let's not forget the players that were around Nick Sirianni when that whole thing was going on against the Browns, the players were smiling and laughing. Like they thought it was funny. And then all the criticism rained down on Nick Sirianni. What happened? That was 6 wins ago. Now they've won 7 straight. That's pretty damn good. What is it he does well? Well, apparently he gets his team ready to play, and he gets his team to play for him. What happened in the end of last year? Everything went wrong. Everything. As far as the travel going for your Philadelphia Eagles squad, no planes. To me, this isn't a huge deal, but to Nick Sirianni, it definitely factors in.
It's a benefit. There's no doubt. To be in this, be in Philadelphia where you have these close teams next to you that you can have bus trips to, that's huge. And then to have we played a lot of road games early on, but when you play a lot of road games early on, now you get the opportunity to play some home games. So we love being at home in front of our fans where it's loud. One of the best place to play in the NFL. We know how rowdy it will be when we get back home in a week. But yeah, I think it's it's an advantage to teams that think it's an advantage, and we definitely think it will be an advantage for us. Give us an opportunity to be home and not get on a plane here. So excited about that.
Yeah, I would be excited too, and I am excited that the Eagles don't have to do this. Do I think it's a huge factor? No, but when you have the season that the Eagles have had so far, and 4-1 at home, 5-1 on the road, they're about to be on the road again, so they're about to play their 7th road game. I think every little thing matters when you talk about starting your season in Brazil. They've had 2 separate 10-day layoffs this season, so that you could say it's to their benefit. And I found it very interesting that Nick Sirianni went to the same explanation as he does when he talks about like Thursday night football or short turnaround games going from Sunday to Thursday. And what he's talked about in the past with that is if you think it's a benefit, then it's a benefit. If you think of it as a benefit and an advantage, then it's a benefit and an advantage. So it's all about players' mindset, which goes back to, again, getting your players ready to play football. And mindset has a lot to do with that. So he's looking at it as a benefit. My guess is the team's looking at it as a benefit. We're going to hear from Jalen Hurts, I think, later today. Look forward to hearing what he has to say. No media availability on Thursday for Thanksgiving, obviously. And then we'll get back to it on Friday as well. So that's what was offered yesterday for the Eagles. Also, Charles Harris, defensive end, was added to the Eagles roster yesterday. KJ Henry was added to the Eagles practice squad yesterday. An edge rusher. He was added to the practice squad yesterday. Harris was claimed off of waivers from the Carolina Panthers. Harris, it's been a minute since he's had a lot of production in the NFL. 2021 as an outside linebacker with the Detroit Lions. He had 7.5 sacks. This year with Carolina, 3 sacks before he was waived. Look forward to seeing what he can bring to the table as the Eagles look for somebody to help. He's also 29 years old, looking for somebody, a former first-round pick of the Dolphins, as a matter of fact. As the Eagles look for somebody to help take over the responsibility and the production, most importantly, from Brandon Graham being out. So that's what they're going to be looking at. As far as KJ Henry, like I said, being added to the practice squad. That's where they are right now. He played for the Cowboys earlier in the year, so congratulations. Congratulations, KJ Henry. Nice to have you. Your Philadelphia 76ers. Now, I'm not going to – there's really nothing I can play that's usable from your boy, Nick Nurse. And I just mentioned, coach speak and talking about what a team can do and say when they're asked questions about how they think they're going to perform the rest of the way and whether or not they're going to get out of it. Like no NBA player in November is going to say, well, the season's over. I mean, we're terrible. I mean, have you guys watched the games? No, I was going to say that. So Paul George, of course, took it to the more optimistic level. 100% certain that they're going to turn the season around. How do they turn the season around? I rattled off some numbers for you guys a week ago, and the numbers were that 6 NBA teams that have started as bad as the Sixers have started of 91. 6 of them, only 6 of them, have been able to get to the playoffs. That is pretty terrible when you think about it. 6 of 92 teams that started out as 2-12, which the Sixers started out. 6 of the 92 teams went on to make the playoffs. My argument for the optimistic side, and I'm going to make both arguments for you here. The optimistic side of the Sixers making the playoffs is that how many of those 92 teams for the first 2 months of the season barely had an MVP caliber player on their roster that wasn't playing, had a new acquisition that was also injured and also needs to find his role with the team. And I know I don't mean to make Paul George sound like a role player, but still find a way that he's going to play and be able to play with Joel Embiid, with Tyrese Maxey, with Jared McCain, and find how he is going to operate. And then also getting a rookie on the upswing and Tyrese Maxey moving in more to a leadership role. How many of those 92 teams had all that going for them when it came to the second half of the season? Now, I say second half of the season. I'm jumping right to that because that's the only shot the Sixers have. So getting that kind of talent back and those guys finding their way with one another, that's what gives me optimism that this team is not cooked, they're not done, and that they're going to make the playoffs. Now, the other side of that, which is I think where the majority of the people lie, is that Joel Embiid, speaking of cooked, could be cooked. I would certainly hope that the Sixers wouldn't give a 3-year contract extension to a guy whose knee is gone or to a guy whose will to play has been taken because of a left knee management situation. When you're managing an injury, like you're injured. So the Sixers don't do themselves any favors by the way that they describe the injury, and I'm sure that there's some loophole in the CBA when it comes to a player sitting out and a team not being fined. I mean, the NBA investigated, found no lies, but still fined the Sixers. So what are they doing with Joel Embiid, and what are his real expectations? I'd love to hear the Sixers comment on the idea of the concern is that Joel Embiid's just done. So if he's just done, this is going to be at some point this year the Maxey, McCain, and George show. And is that going to be enough to at least get you into the playoffs? I don't think that's – I think in a normal season, I think that's enough to get you to the playoffs. I don't think it's enough to crawl out of a 10 games under 500 hole. To do that, you're going to need an MVP caliber player playing in an MVP caliber clip. And that's not something you're getting right now from – well, he's not even playing. That's not something you're getting from Joel Embiid. But if you are looking for optimism, the optimism is, and it comes in, that you could have these players all playing together in the not too distant future, and that's where the season could really turn around. But as of right now, the confidence level is non-existent. And I played the clip for you guys yesterday from Tyrese Maxey talking about how he talks to Joel Embiid multiple times every day, and how Joel Embiid is, he's hurting right now emotionally because he can't go out there and play. He wants to go out there and play, and he can't go out there physically and play. All right, well, then what do we need to do to get him to the level of at least playing with some consistency? Because a guy goes out there and plays 35 minutes, scores 35 points, and then you don't see him again. So was that him trying to kick it into high gear because he was challenged by Tyrese Maxey and everybody knew he was challenged by Tyrese Maxey and he was pissed that he was challenged by Tyrese Maxey? Is the next step to that? All right, I want to go out there and I'm going to show him. And he goes out there and he shows him that he can still play at a high level. 35 points, 35 minutes, 11 rebounds. I can go out there, I can still play at a high level. And now he's, overexerted himself to the point where now he needs a week plus off? Yeah, that's not going to be a good run for the rest of the year if that's the case. Goes all out. I made the joke yesterday of being an NFL player. Is he going to play once a week? 4 times a month? What are we doing here with Joel Embiid? As we manage the knee injury that apparently is being managed terribly. Absolutely terribly. So yeah, that's not fun. By the way, Sixers back at it tonight, like I said, against the Rockets. They get things started at 7 o'clock tonight in South Philadelphia. So they keep it going. Rockets 13-6, Sixers 13-3. Sixers are 5.5-point underdogs going into tonight's game. Good times. Going to see a familiar face, Nick Nurse, tonight with Fred Van Vliet. Yeah. All right. Let me tell you about the Game Time app. Download the Game Time app to your phone. Create an account. Want to go to a game that Joel Embiid might play in? Maybe he won't. Maybe he will. But if you do, if you find out Joel Embiid's playing, you can download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, and you can get $20 off your first purchase. So if he's a scratch right before the game, then you at least save yourself $20 by using promo code Farzy on the Game Time app. So download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code Farzy, get $20 off your first purchase. Want to go to the game? Use the Game Time app. Want to go to a concert or comedy show? Shane Gillis, comedian, was just talking about Jared McCain on a podcast. That was pretty funny. Want to go see Shane Gillis? Game Time app. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use promo code Farzy, get $20 off your first purchase. Also, concerts, comedy shows, you can also buy tickets an hour after the event starts, so you might miss the opening act, you might miss the middle act, but you'll see that headliner that you love so much at a great discounted rate on the Game Time app. Also, Game Time Picks feature. You can filter out all the fluff and get right down to it. The best seats at the best prices on Game Time app when you use Game Time Picks feature. And you can also toggle the all-in pricing feature, which allows you to see exactly what you're paying before you check out. So there's no sticker shock of, whoa, how did these $20 tickets become $30 tickets? What's going on here? Not when you toggle the all-in pricing feature. So download the Game Time app to your phone, create an account, use promo code Farzy, get $20 off your first purchase on the Game Time app. How about PHL Sports Nation, Philadelphia Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs? That's PHLSportsNation.com. If you're just joining us to recap our top story on the Farzy Show today, make it make sense, ladies and gentlemen. Make it make sense. Derrick Henry, the highest rated running back for this past week, rated higher than the 9th all-time performance performed by Saquon Barkley against the Rams. 9th most yards from scrimmage, 2 touchdowns, 270-plus runs, and Derrick Henry was better. I'll make a sense. It doesn't. By the way, if you didn't see Henry's numbers, those are his numbers. Saquon's better than him in everything. Okay, let's get into the chat check and see how wonderful people are doing on this fine Wednesday morning. Oh, before I say anything, Wednesday morning of the biggest party night of the year. Okay, drink responsibly. I know you're going to see all the kids you haven't seen since high school. I know you're going to bump into that random person that you always do at that one bar from your hometown, and you're going to catch up, and it's going to be wonderful. Then you might see that guy that you didn't like so much, and he's going to play nice. Whatever. Maybe you bury the hatchet tonight. I don't know. Drink responsibly. Ride shares are wonderful. Use those. All right. And just be careful out there tonight, kids. There's a lot of rookie energy out there. Okay. Be the veteran. Be the veteran drinker. Don't be the rookie drinker. Okay. Don't make rookie mistakes. Every veteran might have a rookie moment again. Don't let it happen tonight. Drink responsibly and have a good time. Have a good time. Cheers, by the way. Good morning, Sean Kilray. Good morning. Wine Niners Wine. What's going on? Good morning, Farzy and friends. MVP, Barkley, and Eagles are flying high. Flyers are rebuilding 9-3-10. 9-10-3, excuse me. We them Sixers 13, 3-13. Yes. Buddy Christ. Good morning. Happy Thanksgiving, Buddy Christ. Joe, what's up, buddy? I'm ramping up to be that workplace BG. Give me a season or two. Come on, you know all about locker room chemistry, clubhouse chemistry. You need those vibes, guys. How happy are you? Garrett Stubbs is back, baby. April. Good morning, April. December 5th, first episode of Kylie Kelsey podcast. I'm already subscribed. Her promo hits are hilarious. F around and find out. Kylie's like, here's the thing. I know, and I was on with my buddy Chris DeGaulle the other day and his producer, Eddie, who is a great dude. He's got Kelsey fatigue. He doesn't like it. He's done with the Kelseys. And I know people in the chat have talked about being done with the Kelseys and all that stuff. I've been a huge fan of Jason Kelsey since before he ever played a snap with the Eagles. When he got drafted, I remember watching an interview or two on him, and I'm like, oh, this guy's cool. It's fun, whatever. I would have him on the show, on the radio for a bunch of times, and he was just a good time. He was a fun guy, great guy to talk to in the locker room. I remember when Kylie moved in with him, he was on social media, and his hashtag was like living with a girl, and he would have different scenarios about like living with a girl, like, wait, all the makeup stuff's all over the sink. All right, living with a girl, that kind of thing. I just thought that was funny, and he just always had this personality, and then he turned into a Hall of Fame player. And I told you this before when I was there at the Underdog clothing apparel launch at the Bach Bar in South Philly. Kylie was there. I got to talk to her and her father and her mom, and got to talk to Jason a little bit. And like the great things that are happening to the Kelsey family, I am thrilled for because they're good people. Now, I have the advantage of, I don't want to say I know them, like we talk all the time or anything crazy, like that. But, I have the benefit of knowing them from behind the scenes. And I root for them. Because they're good people. So good for Kylie getting that podcast. Wait, what do you think is going to be great? What did I miss here? Oh, the podcast. Yes, that is going to be great. Oh, Eris Wisniewski, what's going on, man? Eric Wisniewski, what's going on? Trade Embiid while his value is still high. That's an option. April, Mark, love your Sixers optimism, but I just don't see it for him. I get it. It's not exactly an easy thing for me to see right now, but I just keep thinking about the fact that you do have guys on this roster that have barely played, and they've barely played together. So I'm really going to start. I'll put it this way. I got a month of being somewhat optimistic about the Sixers, and then after that, I'll burn it to the ground. Ricky, what's going on? Can he come back if we make it to the championship game or Super Bowl? BG, probably not. Probably not. Sean Gillespie, bad morale from bad coaching decisions, hard to overcome. What with the Sixers? Maybe. Oh, April, happy Thanksgiving, chat family. Happy Thanksgiving to you too, April. Yes. By the way, yeah, no show tomorrow. Spoiler. Boatload of money coming to Kellen Moore. Yeah, you ain't kidding, man. Trade Embiid and George. Start rebuild. Keep current young players on team because Sixers don't make it to the finals. Excuse me, it's a failure. Yeah. NFL hates the Eagles. That's why Henry got it. Hey, speaking of that, Eric, and Seth Joyner was making a point of this on the post-game show. But during the game, who is the head official? Land Clark. I always say thinking the referees or thinking the announcer hates your team is the same vibe as the guy that goes to the gentleman's club and thinks she really likes me. Hat tip Michael Ian Black for that joke. I repurposed it. But man, I just got a vibe that every time he called a penalty against the Eagles, he was really happy. And anytime he called a penalty against the Rams, he was rather disappointed. That was my take on it. Maybe they ranked him higher to piss off Saquon. Maybe they did at Pro Football Focus April. Veteran drinking move is to do it at home. April, spoken like a veteran. I invited my dad and my father-in-law to come out to the show tonight, and because my father-in-law is a big sports fan, and my dad's it's funny, the people my dad is most interested. My dad grew up in Ambler, and the people that my dad's always been the most interested in, if I've met someone, it's always the 70s Flyers. Dad's a football fan, baseball fan, men's on basketball. And but when it comes to hockey, he's just like, "Oh, you met Bob the Hound Kelly? What was he like?" I'm like, "Awesome." Bob the Hound Kelly was awesome. You met the Hammer? Yeah, I met the Hammer. Dave the Hammer Schultz. I met him. When I was just starting out my career and I was meeting these guys, that was the most important thing. So I've gotten to know Bernie pretty decent, and his lovely wife Ginny, and I'm sure she'll be there tonight. But yeah, I invited them to come out tonight. I'm just curious to see whether or not that's going to be a good scene for men of an advanced age when it comes to a Wednesday night before Thanksgiving, being at a bar. That might not be the best spot for him, but especially my dad who doesn't drink. Yeah. I'm taking a medication. I can't drink. Dad, have a glass of wine. Anyway, people agreeing with each other, drink at home. There you go. Wayne the Pain, what's going on? Good morning, Knucklehead. Good morning. Oh, T-Bro, chat. Farzy, just want to say happy Thanksgiving from the bro, from the T-Bro family to all yours. Go Birds, Dallas sucks. That's a beautiful way to say it. I believe that was actually said at the first Thanksgiving. They had a bird on the table. Go Birds. And it's like, Dallas sucks. It's not even around yet. It will be. You'll find out. Diamond does love me. Right on penalties, yeah. Wayne the Pain, go Birds. Happy Thanksgiving, Sean Gillespie. Yeah, Mishkov did put up another goal last night. I think his goal gave him a 3-0 lead, and then they blew it. Anyway, thanks to everybody in the chat. You guys are wonderful as per usual. Let's get to the morning rush brought to you by Sky Motor Cars. SkyMotorCars.com. Already mentioned Sixers tonight, 7 o'clock against the Rockets. That'll be a great time. Flyers also in action tonight, 8 o'clock against the Predators. Predators coming to tonight's game 7-12-3. Flyers 9-10-3 on the season. Flyers tonight. I'm not sure who's going to be in net tonight, but anyway. The over-under is 5.5 goals. Flyers to the money line plus 150. Nashville minus 175. The spread is 1.5. Like it always is in hockey. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You guys are great as per usual. Oh, what do I think of the pickup? I talked about him earlier. Look, I think these are bodies that you're picking up. Charles Harris is a good acquisition. The 3 sacks on the season, but claimed off waivers. There's a reason the Panthers let him go. So that's all you got to know. The other thing is, I think I hate to say the word replacement, but I think the guys are going to have to pick up the slack the most that the Eagles are going to be relying on. That's going to be Nolan Smith. That's going to be Jalix Hunt. Right now with this, I'll say this. With Charles Harris, I think Nolan Smith and Charles Harris. I think that's going to be the pecking order when it comes to taking over for Brandon Graham. Getting old is getting old. Okay. Go Birds. Happy Thanksgiving. Same to you. Getting old is getting old. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Trotter Jr. in the edge rusher. Go for it. Any opportunity. Give him an opportunity. Yes, please, and thank you. Hey, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll be back with you guys tonight for Locked On Sports Philadelphia, Locked On 76ers postcast. So catch me after the Sixers Rockets tonight. And then be back with you guys on Friday morning as well, ahead of the, a Football Friday. You can't miss a Football Friday. But I do wish you guys a wonderful Thanksgiving. I wish you guys a great time tonight, a wonderful Thanksgiving with your friends and family and all that type jazz. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Back with you guys tonight for Locked On Sports Philadelphia. Back with you guys tonight from 6 to 7 on 1490 WBCB with my man Bernie Perrant. Talking pucks. Look forward to that. Catch you guys tonight and tomorrow, and then Friday morning. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Once again, happy Thanksgiving. There's one more person. There we go. Someone brought that up on another show that he could do it. Trotter. Okay. All right. Let's do it. Eric Wisniewski, again, thanks a lot. Thanks, everyone. Have a great rest of your day. Be back with you guys tonight and then Friday morning. See you then.